Good morning, Year 4 at St Gregory's Catholic Primary School in Stratford-upon-Avon. Thank you very much for reading my book. I'm really glad that you are enjoying it. I've been sent a load of questions that you've asked about this book, which is good. I'm very happy to answer them. You've asked a lot of questions, which is also good. It does mean, however, I'm going to have to talk really quickly because otherwise you'll just be sitting there watching a video throughout your whole lesson, not actually doing any work, which you'd probably be quite happy with. Anyway, I'm going to talk quickly. Thank you for your questions. Here we go. How many have we got? 24 questions. Which countries in Europe have you travelled to and which is your favourite? Well, when I cycle around the world, and by the way, I am the grown-up, ugly version of Tom, the boy who biked the world. I actually spent 4 years cycling around the world, and when I rode through Europe, I followed the river Danube. So if you see that on a map, I met it in Germany, and I followed the river eastwards through all the countries until it popped out in Istanbul in Turkey. And of all my favourite countries in Europe, I really enjoyed Turkey for many reasons. It's beautiful, lovely food, fantastic people, but also I enjoyed it because it's such a gateway between Europe and then Asia. So I'll choose Turkey. What important lessons have you learnt from your travels? 1. The world is a good and kind place. If you watch the news, it seems that every foreigner is evil and that every country is dangerous, and that's ridiculous. I felt as safe cycling through Siberia as I did through Swindon. I've never cycled to Swindon, but no offence, Swindon, exactly the same. Same as Stratford. Serbia or Stratford or Senegal, all lovely, kind, friendly places to cycle through. I also learnt cycling around the world that I, normal person, am capable of much more than I'd realised. Until I set out to try to cycle around the world, I didn't honestly think someone, normal person like me, could get all the way around the world. But you never know unless you try. And when you find something that you really care about in life and that really excites you and you're willing to work so hard at, that's when amazing stuff starts to happen and you manage to achieve harder things than you might ever have imagined. What inspired you for the boy who biked the world? Well, back in the olden days, before I cycled around the world, I was training to be a teacher. And then I realised being a teacher is really hard work. And I'm quite lazy, and much less hard work than being a teacher. Much less hard work than being a teacher would be to cycle around the world. So I set off to cycle around the world, and along the way I gave loads of talks in schools, and I realised that young people enjoy adventure stories and travel stories and learning about the world. So I decided to turn my adventures into a book for children, and I thought it would be more interesting if the hero of the story was a kid rather than some boring old grown-up. What's your favourite book you've written? That is a good question. And how many of you have written? I've had 10 books published. I'm writing another kids book at the moment about rowing the Atlantic Ocean. I'm currently doing my homework, red ink scribbles on another bit of writing I'm doing. My favourite book is probably, well, this one has actually sold the most copies of everything I've written, and therefore I suppose this should be my favourite. But the truth is, my favourite is usually the one that I'm doing next. That's usually what I'm most excited about. Question 5. Do you have any advice for an aspiring writer and adventurer? Just do it. If you want to be good at writing, you have to do 2 things. 1, read a lot of books. Read, and then do some writing. But reading, I think, is the most important part of being a writer. And if you want to be an adventurer, you just got to go have adventures. Get out at the weekend, go climb trees, pester your friends and family to go climb a local hill, go explore your local town, walk a circle around your school of 1 mile away from the school. You will see things you have never seen before in your life. You're being an explorer. And then from that, bigger things can grow. But just do stuff. That's the key. What's your favourite place you've travelled to? cycling around the world, I loved Sudan because the people were so kind, and it was my first time in the desert, which was just blew my mind. Later, I cycled through Colombia, and I found that a very beautiful, friendly, interesting country. In Asia, I really enjoyed. I enjoyed all the stans: Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan. Unusual, surprising places that I knew nothing about. They're places I always enjoy going to. In which ways are you similar to Tom in your book? Well, Tom is me and I am Tom. We both like banana sandwiches. We're both quite shy. We both hadn't done any adventures before. Oof, I just saw a jay fly past. Google what a jay is. Jays are cool birds, and if you see a jay, that means you are near acorns. Anyway, how am I similar to Tom? Banana sandwiches, both quite shy, both a bit scruffy. Your most memorable travel memory? Oof, I can't remember. My most memorable memory from travels is probably a group of two things. One is all of the people who just welcomed me, a stranger, into their lives and looked after me and fed me and helped me and laughed with me all around the world. That was wonderful. And then the opposite of that is the times when there was no one around, a complete empty wilderness, and it was just up to me to make progress through this difficult landscape, to have to trust my skills and abilities and just keep on going as best that I could, like that. So I think the wilderness or the humans, the stuff that I like. The other thing, right, next question. Do you have any houses in other countries? Not yet. You need to buy some more copies of my books. Most dangerous animal you've encountered? Grizzly bears in the Yukon. Although actually the most dangerous animal in the world is humans, because humans drive cars like idiots, and that's dangerous when you're cycling. Humans chop down massive forests, which is crazy and dangerous. So I think the dangerous animal is us, and actually just being in these wild places of other animals is a privilege, and if you treat them with respect, I haven't had any problems. What's the weirdest place you've been to in the world? Weirdest place? Scotland? No, joking. Weird place. Turkmenistan was quite weird. They had a really crazy ruler there called Turkmenbashi who started naming the days of the weeks after his mum, and lots of the old ladies all had gold teeth, and there were all sorts of very strange things in Turkmenistan. And also, I think, a huge hole in the desert that's blazing with fire. It was an old gas mine that's been burning for 40 years. Yeah, Turkmenistan's quite weird. I liked it. Have you been to the North Pole? No, I haven't. I've been up on the frozen Arctic Ocean for a couple of months. I've been up to. It was quite near where the magnetic North Pole used to be at the time. That moved around, but no, I've never been to the North or the South Pole. I would like to go. Do you travel by yourself or with friends? I cycle around the world on my own, but a couple of friends did come and join me for little bits of it along the way. And it was really nice to have some company, but also it's quite annoying being with other people because they're annoying. So there's good sides to being on your own and bad sides to being on your own. And I like doing a bit of both. Generally speaking, I think being by yourself is more of a challenge and more rewarding. Being with other people is more fun. Simple as that. Have you ever done any training for foreign countries? Nope. I think the best training you can do is just go travelling and keep your eyes and ears open, and you start to learn how the world works. No, I haven't done any training. Which countries that you've visited has the largest population? Well, I've been to China, I've been to India, I've been to Brazil, I've been to the United States of America. I think they're the top 4 countries. Oh gosh, I haven't been to Nigeria or Singapore. I've been to Brazil, that's also got lots and lots of people, and Argentina. Yeah, China and India, they've got the most, haven't they? I love both those countries. Good food. How long did it take to write The Boy About the World? Well, I started writing it as soon as I finished cycling around the world, which was years and years and years ago. And then no publisher cared, no one was interested, no one wanted to publish it, and I had to go and write some other books. I wrote some grown-up books. about cycling around the world, like this. So this is basically the grown-up version of this. It's exactly the same trip down through Africa. I wrote that, got published, and eventually from that, a publisher then agreed to do my kids' book. So it took me a while to get going. Now I've got a publisher, I'd say usually it takes me 1 year to write a book, and my mission is to write one book every year. Which I'm not going to get a book done if I have to answer 24 questions. I don't mind, it's good. I like answering questions from schools. Did you grow up wanting to be a writer? Not really. I grew up wanting to be a professional footballer, to play for Leeds United or to play cricket for Yorkshire. But then I eventually realised that was not going to happen. But I always enjoyed reading. And as I was a student, I started thinking, oh, wouldn't it be great to be a writer? But that sounds impossible. No one's actually a writer. And I wasn't that good at writing at school. So I started to dream it, but I only started to take it seriously once I started to write. And that's always the way. If you want to be someone, you have to do the thing. If you want to be a guitar player, you've got to start playing the guitar. If you want to be a runner, you've got to start running. If you want to be a dancer, you've got to start dancing. If you want to be a doctor, you've got to start learning your science. If you want to be a writer, you've got to start reading and writing. The most exciting and embarrassing thing that's happened on an adventure. Well, lots of embarrassing things happened to me. Most of them I probably can't answer for an interview with a school. So I'll go with a time when I cycled up this big hill in Colombia. Really slowly, a lorry came overtaking me. I'd been cycling up the hill for hours, and for absolutely no reason at all, the driver reached out the window and punched me in the face, and I fell off my bike. And I was so surprised. What was happening? I jumped on my bike and I chased after him. I was so angry. But I was chasing up this mountain at about 3 miles an hour, and he was going about 4 miles an hour, and he escaped. So that was a daft, weird, crazy thing that happened. I have no idea why he punched me in the face. Maybe he was having a bad day. When you were rowing across the ocean, how much plastic did you see? I saw a lot of plastic rowing across the ocean. It's very sad. And what's also sad is the things that I didn't see. We met a man who'd rowed the same route as us 40 years before us, and he said he saw a shark every day. Now, I know sharks are a bit scary, blah, 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 but they're beautiful, amazing things. They've been around for hundreds of millions of years, longer than even since the dinosaurs, and we didn't see a single one. So just within the lifetime of, say, of your grandparents, of your parents, and of yourselves, we've killed nearly every shark in the ocean. We are destroying animals, and that is so sad. And it's another reason to start doing adventures and to start getting out to the world and loving the world, because we have ruined the world and only you guys can save it. So get out there and start doing some good stuff, please. Do you ever get hurt or injured? Not really. Cycling is very low impact, so it's quite a gentle thing, and also you get very fit. So I've been quite lucky to not really have any injuries cycling around the world. How often do you travel? Well, I used to do massive trips, so I'd save up some money by writing a book, and then I'd go do something big like rowing an ocean, and that might be maybe once a year. But what I try and do these days is actually just travel every day by just trying to be an explorer in the normal places that I live. So on my way to town, I look out for little streams that I haven't seen. I go and explore them, or I climbed a tree just outside my shed that I'd never climbed this week. So I just try and do small, regular things these days, because there is adventure and wilderness and beauty everywhere, if only we go and find it. Have you made any friends while travelling? Yes. Making friends is one of the coolest things about travel. I hesitated a bit with my answer, because often you meet people, you have a lovely time, you feel like you're brilliant friends, and then you carry on cycling around the world and you never see them again. And that's a bit sad. But on the other hand, it's great to meet all these different people. So yeah, meeting good people is one of the best things about travelling. That's the end of the questions. You're going to have to do some work now. Haha. Thank you very much for all your questions. Thank you so much for reading my book. I really, really appreciate it. Good luck with all of your writing, and good luck with your own adventures. Cheers. Bye-bye.